Alrighty, everyone, welcome. Sorry, we're just running a few minutes late from our other event. Um, we will get started in just a second. We're going to show a quick video.
Welcome to today's session, everyone.
We are Pre-Med CC, a student-led organization established in the fall of 2021.
Our goal as an organization was to create an online program for pre-medical students at community colleges and universities, with the hope of guiding the next generation of diverse and inclusive physicians.
And while we advertise our organization as being for community college students, our events are open to anyone.
We realize that finding guidance and mentorship in a pre-med journey can be especially challenging for first-generation pre-med students,
people that lack the financial resources, or just those who do not know people in the medical field.
One of the best parts about our events is that they are virtual, so you can do it from the comfort of your own home.
We typically have events on Fridays from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 12:30 Pacific Standard Time.
If you aren't able to attend the event, all of our sessions are uploaded on our YouTube channel.
Many of our sessions will end up with a Q&A with the speakers.
Any questions that you have, you may put it in the Q&A session on Zoom, and our team members will read them and have them answer.
After you have attended our event, you can log into our website and complete the quiz, which will contain questions pertaining to our session today.
If you score 70% or higher on the quiz, you will be awarded a certificate to show that you attended our session today.
If you want to stay connected with the upcoming events or just want to tell your pre-med friends about the Pre-Med CC, you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok as @PreMedCC.
Alrighty, well, welcome everyone, and we'll start with Anya. You could introduce yourselves, and then we'll go with Kristen, and then Daniela, and then David. So,
yeah, hi everyone. I'm Anya. I'm a senior at UCLA. I'm currently majoring in human biology and society. I do plan on attending medical school in the future. I am pretty involved in research, so if you have any questions pertaining to that, feel free to ask me, as well as the extracurriculars that I'm currently participating in. So very happy to be here. Thank you.
where did you go to community college?
Yeah, I went to Glendale Community College and I transferred from there in like 2000, like 2 years ago. So yeah.
And you call Glendale home?
I call Burbank home, not Glendale.
And what is one what's the most embarrassing is not a good one. What's your favorite food?
My favorite food, it has to be an Armenian cuisine. It's these grape wrapped leaves. It's called dolma. So it's my favorite. It's great.
Very cool. All right, Kirsten, you're next.
Hi everyone, it's nice to see everyone here. My name is Kirsten. I'm a first year transfer student, so I'm a junior here at UCLA. I'm majoring in molecular cell and environmental biology. I'm originally from the Bay Area in San Jose. I went to community college at the Hill and Dianza. So that's like Los Altos Hills, the Palo Alto area. And then what my favorite food would have to be probably my mom's sukiyaki. It's like it's like glass noodle dish with like a lot of vegetables, and she makes it really great. I'll pass it over to Daniela.
Hi everyone, my name is Daniela. I transferred from Los Angeles Trade Tech in 2021. My majors are psychology and anthropology. I'm currently helping in squirrel research. I am a senior at UCLA, and I guess my favorite food would be chicken parmesan.
I guess
I'm the last one here. Hi, everyone. My name is David Tanoko. Nice to be here with everyone here. I transferred from West Los Angeles Community College. I transferred to UCLA 2022, fall 2022, and my current major is nursing. I'm also doing a minor in global health study. I'm originally from Indonesia. I identify myself as a refugee student. Um, Also identify a non-traditional student, LGBTQ student, and man of color. I was part of the undergrad research assistant in nursing faculty for a year and a half. My study is about HIV positive community in Southeast Asia, in Myanmar. And other than that, I was part of the peer advisor in Triple CP and other multiple club that I joined. Yeah.
And what's
And
your favorite food?
favorite food, I would say noodles. Yeah. But since I'm from Southeast Asia, so it has to be dry noodle, like Singaporean noodle. I don't know if yeah, so not soupy. People think noodle always like a soup, but mine is like more dry noodle. Yeah.
Very cool. So the first question in the chat is, what are some of the extracurricular activities did you do at community college that gave you the Holy Grail acceptance to UCLA?
Yeah, I could start with that. So I did a plethora of activities when I was in community college. So I knew that I wanted to get involved in research. So I was part of the scholars program at GCC. It's usually called the honors program if you're attending different community colleges. And then I was able to receive different extracurriculars through that organization. So we would do volunteering, community service, leadership board. So I was pretty involved with that program. And then I also founded a club at my campus, which I continued on over to UCLA after I transferred. It was called Advocating Health Equity and Inclusivity. And then I was also able to participate in different research programs. So if you guys are interested in research, whether it's in humanities or in STEM-based research, I participated in the Jumpstart research program at USC. You can Google that. And they were able to just support me in working with a researcher at an institution. They also provided stipends, and it was a pretty helpful experience. Also, the CERC program I participated in after I transferred, so I was receiving my acceptance, but that experience helped me be in the lab that I'm currently at UCLA. It's at my second year. So it was a great experience. I would encourage all of you guys to look into those programs, CERC program, and then USC Jumpstart.
I could go next. So I also had a little bit of a research, or first off, I'll start with like the honors program. I was also part of the honors program at Hill College. I think each community college has various there are a lot of different programs that are offered. Like some colleges offer like capstone projects, or some community colleges offer like honors programs. I was part of the Hill honors program, and so if anyone's like at Foothill right now or like at Foothill De Anza, basically what that program entailed was taking about 23 units of honors classes. Those can double up as like your general education requirements. And so basically I was completing like honors units and the like general education requirements for transfer to the IGETC. And so that honors program didn't require like a specific project, but there was like a little service leadership paragraph that we, or like essay that we had to write along with the honors courses that we're taking. And then that helps, that had like a higher guaranteed acceptance, or not a guaranteed acceptance, but had a higher like rate transfer rate being in the honors program to UCLA. So that was a program that I was a part of. I also did a little bit of research at my time in community college. I was part of the Gladstone Institute's PUMIS program. It stands for Promoting Underrepresented Minorities Advancement in Sciences. And so that was in San Francisco. And so basically, you were able to be paired up with a mentor in a lab with Gladstone. It's affiliated with UCSF. And so I was taking like the BART every day to like go to labs. So it was a really like long process. But yeah, we can like, if you have any questions about that specifically, anyone in the chat, you can like message me. And then that was like a research like project that I was a part of. And then yeah, that's pretty much what I did for the 2 summers that I had in community college. So I stayed with that program for 2 summers.
So for me, when I was in community college, I actually didn't do any extracurricular activities, just because like I had a lot of classes and I had to work. But I did manage to get like extracurricular activities here at UCLA. I was in 2 programs. One is called WAZO, I'm not really sure how you say it. And you just help like other students with mental health, and as well another one called Project Sunshine, where you like make telehealth appointments with children. But other than that, like community college was just, like school and work for me.
Thank you, everyone. And for my case, first, I believe it was 2019. It was my first time I joined the club in community college. It was my first club as well. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not from here. I didn't go to high school here, so it was my first time community college in United States. So I at first I didn't know like what is important. Why am I being part of the club? So I started as a position as a member, not directly like, oh, I'm gonna join like as a board member or like a vice president or certain position. I started mine as a member for the first semester, West Los Angeles Community College. Then slowly, with the interaction with all the people that I connected with them, they encouraged me like, hey, maybe you should do the ICC position, Intercouncil Club position. Then slowly vice president. Eventually, it reached me 1 year and a half in environmental club in West Los Angeles Community College. I reached the position of being a president in the environmental club. So I feel like regardless what kind of club is it, if you are able to be in a leadership position, that will definitely help individual of us to be a leader. So that will be very helpful to navigate us and also help us as a community college student transfers to any university that we want. Yeah, that's my story about my community college back in the club.
So this is a question. Did any of you have B's at community college, and did that hurt you at all to get in?
I actually have had 1 C when I was in community college, and I really think it didn't affect me as much because the rest of the grades were good. But I don't think there should be like a lot of fear with you like receiving a B or a C, as long as like you have like because when they look at your application, it's like a holistic review, right? So I guess the importance isn't just your grades, it's everything else. So I don't think you should like be super focused on grades, but I don't know, that's just my opinion.
I'll jump from Daniela's comment. So I totally agree with everything she said. Although I did not receive any grades below an A, I also want to reiterate to everyone, make sure that you know what your ultimate goal is. If your ultimate goal is to attend graduate school, then transferring is a little tiny part of that goal. So usually for graduate schools, whether you're trying to apply to medical school, law school, they do look for an upward trajectory. So let's just say in your freshman year, you received C's, B's, and F's. They would preferably like you to receive B's and A's starting from your sophomore year going on into your junior year so that they can see that upward trajectory, if that makes sense. But if you received a B here and there, all of my friends who were accepted to UCLA and transferred with me, they did not have perfect GPAs. You don't need perfect GPAs. I don't want to glorify UCLA as being one and done. Once you transfer, that's it. Like, you've made it. Because keep the goal of graduate school as or any other career that you're trying to pursue as that in mind. So your GPA isn't always going to be on this pedestal, but make sure that you develop good study habits, because you're going to eventually transfer wherever, whether it's USC, UCLA, UCSC, wherever it is, you will need to maintain that GPA, that, grades for letter of recommendations, for anything that you do. It doesn't necessarily need to be graduate school. So make sure that you are putting your interests first, and that can be your academic and, graduate school goals.
Yeah, I can echoing to what Anya responded, Daniela. In my case, back in community college, my grade, the lowest one I think it was B. Yeah, but what I experienced is my case might be different with other students. I did took a gap year, like a 1 year gap year, and not 1 year, two semester. So I took a 2 semester. Also, everyone have a different situation. Like in my case, I have some financial situation at that time, so I have to work. I don't think I'm able to go to college, but then I decided to work, and I go back to community college again. So if anything happen, like Anya and Daniela mentioned, I think GPA and also the grade is, if you got C or got anything that not satisfied grade, make sure to explain the reason. Like I think some you guys mentioned about holistic perspective, right? So I do take a gap year as well for 2 semesters, and I mentioned why with my reason to use the application. So the same thing to any university. So explain why it is happening, and there might be a reason why also. Like from there we learn like how to improve it. What can be done to be better? Yeah, that's my opinion. Yeah.
All right. So, and I think like somebody was asking about the average, and I don't know what the average scores are. I think they're all posted on the websites that you could look at for the previous year. Um, and I think like with a B or even a C, or even if you fail a class, is that what do you do after it? And I think that's what they want to see, and it's a word they call resilience. Now, if you had, death in the family, you had to work, you had all of these different things, by all means, like, you know, mention that and try to, and there's things that you can't control, but you know, but saying like I had too much fun because I went to too many parties, then probably not a good reason. Um, so this is a question for each of you is this person is a first year, and what advice would you give to yourself as a first year student at your community college?
Yeah, this is a great question. I can start with answering. So I had the same question when I was in the summer of my senior year of like high school, like before starting community college. And I will encourage everyone here to think about, again, I'm going to go back to graduate school because that is our ultimate goal if you are trying to get like a professional degree or any other job. So let's just say you're unsure, it's your first year, you're unsure of what path you want to take in the healthcare field. I would encourage you guys to shadow, email a bunch of people, professionals, whether it's your dentist, your primary care physician, whoever it is, email professionals. Most of the time they are happy to help, and sometimes they don't respond, but don't take that personally. Really explore the different career fields out there and make sure that the path that you want to pursue is actually of interest to you, so you don't waste your time majoring in something that you're not passionate in. However, in that same sentiment, don't take your grades lightly and your ability to study lightly. That comes before anything else. GPA is king for medical school, for law school. Of course, if you're not going into graduate school, nursing school, whatever, that's not as important. But I do notice that a lot of the students that I work with as a peer advisor at Triple CP, when you get certain grades that have a long lasting effect on your GPA, it is very difficult to raise the GPA back up again. So make sure you develop those study habits day one of class, and you will also be able to get letter of recommendation. So in your UC application, you don't need letters of rec. So I don't think that it's on the top of everyone's mind to receive letters of rec. But if you're applying to scholarships, Jack Kent Cooke scholarship, a Bell, so many scholarships, those all require letters of rec. So really do try to develop relationships with your professors and make sure that you're going to office hours and engaging with your professors, because I would say that you have a really good opportunity at community colleges as opposed to even UCLA being number one of developing relationships with your professors, because the class sizes are so small. So you'll be able to connect with your professors one-on-one, get those letters of rec that you can use for different purposes, graduate school, letters of rec, scholarships. So that is my advice.
I can go next. Really great advice being shared. She shared everything pretty much. But I have some other ones. I'd say take advantage of special programs that are offered at your community college, especially if you have some promise programs or some financial aid that can help cover. Especially because community college classes are cheaper compared to paying for classes in a UC or any other college. So if you have special programs that are offered, let's say a medical assistant program, if you're interested in that, or if there's EMT class they want to take or something, I'd say take advantage of that, because I think the workload balance can be if you're at CC, usually you're closer to home, you have a little bit more free time than when you're living on your own or at a university. And so I'd say take advantage of any special programs if you want to get certified in something like BLS certified or CPR certified. Community college is the time to get that done. I'd also say to kind of really take it as an exploratory time to if you really want to take a nutrition class or some class that you're really interested in, I think community college is a great time to explore and really figure out what you want to do. That's the main reason why, or one of the many reasons why I decided to do community college, was to have that time to be close to family, to have some sort of stability so that I could focus on what kinds of things that interest me. So those are two pieces of advice that I'd give to first year students.
Yeah, I think I would say the same thing for first year students. Probably just get your general ed taken care of, and then just take classes that you feel would interest you, just so you have I guess a head start to know exactly what you want to do after community college. And definitely give yourself time. I know it's really important to just get the 2 years out of community college and transfer as soon as possible, but it doesn't have to have a time frame of 2 years. It could be 3, 4. It could just take as long as you need, just as long as you know exactly what you want. And I think that's the most important thing.
Echoing to Anya, I think you mentioned about letter of recommendation. That is so true. Definitely. I'm so grateful that I attended to the office hour and I was able to make those connection with some two or more than three professor. Then I don't have to struggle like to look for like LOR because they know how much I have changed from the first year until the second year or third year in community college. So I'm grateful for that. I was able to connect with them. And echoing to Christine, I think you mentioned about the take advantage what your community college offer. So I remember my community college offered Trio SSS. Take advantage of that. And first year especially, I didn't know until like later. Then there is another program. It's called EOPS. When I tried to apply, and unfortunately, I wasn't eligible due to my units. I remember, oh, you have a specific unit. So something about like above 60 or below 60 unit when you first time in community college. So
It's
if you're
30 units.
30 unit. Thank you so much for correcting me. I forgot, been a while. But yeah, so definitely take advantage of everything. What resources that you have in your community college. And lastly, I will say I don't know. I feel like being in community college student, the beauty being a transfer student and community college. Look at how diverse we are. We are a mix from different community. I was able to learn from my classmate, parenting student, undocumented student, immigrant, international student, come from different background. So connect with them, and until today, I still connect with them. And they went a different path, different journey. Some of them dentist, some of them dental hygiene, some of them real estate. But it's good to have this connection when you are in one class. So that's my suggestion for first year community college.
The other question is somebody asked about the UCLA CCCP program, and I know like some of you were involved, some of you work in it. Talk a little bit about that. And some people want to know the pros and the cons of it. I'm kind of biased because I know all the Dr. Alexander and Santi and Alfred who just retired. So I'm kind of biased, but do you guys want to share that a little bit about CCCP and what you like about it and yeah.
Yeah, I'll start with Triple CP. I will say this, I'm also biased because I was part of Triple CP when I was in community college. I was a huge fan of them. And then I got hired with them last year. This is my second year working with them. So I've been involved with Triple CP going on into my fourth year. I will say this. I don't see a con in joining Triple CP. So once you join the meetings and you're able to get in touch with a peer advisor, you're able to get support from a UCLA student. So it can be me, David, Danielle, whoever is part of Triple CP, you can get support from a student who has been in your shoes, who has gone through the trials and tribulations that you're currently going through. So you're able to get more of a mentorship in that aspect. Also, if you are part of one of the STEM programs at Triple CP, so someone can correct me, David or Daniela, someone can correct me, but you'll be able to take classes during the summer, certain classes, like 3 or 4 being offered during the summertime. So that is a great experience, in my opinion, if you're interested in taking classes at UCLA, but be careful because you are going to be establishing your UC GPA if you do take a UCLA class. So make sure to balance the pros and cons of that. If you're ready to handle the rigors, then by all means take it. For me, I wasn't confident enough during my time at CC to take it. So just balance it out, talk with a counselor. And yeah, if you are also interested in working with Triple CP after you transfer successfully, that is also an opportunity. So I like to demonstrate longevity in my activities for graduate school, specifically for medical school. So I do like the fact that I've been part of Triple CP for 4 years now, and I can show my growth as a scholar and then now as a peer advisor, and hopefully beyond that once I graduate and enter my gap year. So that's it for me.
I could tell you that I just want to add this that there's been a bunch of UCLA CCCP medical students at UCSF, UCLA, Davis that have spoken on our platform. So you could go listen to them and they could talk about it as well in some of their sessions. David, I know that you've been involved with CCCP, and can you share some of your experiences?
Yeah, of course. So similar situation with what Anya mentioned. I was also part of Scholar in Triple CP when I was in the community college for 2 years. Yeah, 2 years as a scholar. Then so my experience as a scholar in Triple CP, like Anya mentioned, they assign you with a peer advisor. They give you attend to a certain workshop, which is very helpful. The workshop is not just about like depending your major, it's not just major, it's like helping you how to be independently financial, like for your scholarship and stuff. Then something about financial aid workshop. And also I'm part of the recipient for Jack and Cook Foundation Fall 2022, and that's also I'm so grateful because I was encouraged by the Triple CP advisor. The requirement to be scholar in Triple CP is you have to attend to certain workshop and attend to the peer advisor meeting, and also you have to submit at least one scholarship. And one of the scholarship that I submitted with the guidance from Triple CP, it was Jack and Cook Foundation. And I mean, if I didn't I'm not part of the scholars Triple CP, maybe I may not heard about Jack and Cook Foundation. So yeah, I was able to get the scholarship, and now today, once I got transferred to UCLA as a peer, I'm working as a peer advisor for 1 year and a half. Yeah, 1 year and a half working as a Triple CP peer advisor, specifically in STEM, general STEM. Yeah. And answering to Anya, I think you mentioned about the summer program. Triple CP do have summer program. You're right about like community college student able to take some classes in summer. But it's not just for STEM. So I think they are being selective. Not it's a small group. So you're not going to be combined with like 100 students now. It's a small classes group, which is still good, but in UCLA, and everything being covered as well. So you don't have to pay anything. But again, it is a selective application as well. Yeah.
David, so you got the Jack Cook Scholarship?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell them how much that is?
Yeah, they cover me 55,000 per year.
For how long?
Technically until I graduate. Also on top of that, apparently if you are undergrad Jack and Cook Foundation, they also support you for grad school as well.
So yeah, so you guys should apply to that. I know we try to put a session. I think we have a session coming up sometime in December or January. So I'll probably try to sucker you to come to that. So the other and then Kristen, you were not involved in CCCP, right?
No, I wasn't.
All right, we won't hold that against you. Also, the other thing is just clarification. Kristen is part of our pre-med CC leadership, so I do give her a hard time. The other part of it too is that they're one of our partner programs, and we work with them, and we post a lot of their stuff. And their summer program, they have virtual, they have in person, they have residential. So we post a lot of their stuff on our social media. We just can't send out an email every time because there's like they do hundreds of things, and we only send out like one email a week, and that's like the maximum we could do. The other question, the other thing that I would just add to a first year student at JC, because I ended up going to a couple other a few JCs, is make assist.org your best friend, because if you like want to take a major and transfer to a certain school, UCLA or non-UCLA, is Like that's kind of your contract, and you just walk in there and say, "This is what I'm taking, and this is what it says," and that's pretty much it. It's kind of like a binding thing. But also it helps you if there's like any questions or any challenges with your classes, then you have that as a that. And then this is a kind of actually a follow up, and is this is one person wanted to know, um, and this is I think both David and Anya and Kristen could address this is getting letters of recommendation from community college professors before transferring. Why is that important? Why is that important setting up a relationship? And is it something normal to ask for a letter of recommendation from them? So is it like something, is it needed for transferring or no, or not?
Yeah, so I can answer that question. So, like David, I was a semi-finalist for Jack Can Cook. I wasn't a finalist. I instead received the UCLA Alumni Scholarship and the Abel Scholarship. So I use all of my letters of rec. I reuse them for those applications. So if you are interested in not taking loans out once you transfer to pay for UCLA or whatever UC transfer to, I would say those letters of recommendation can get in handy. I forgot what application system. It's like a Interfolio, or yeah, I think it's called Interfolio. You're actually able to save your letters of rec from your professors, whoever is able to just write you a letter. And I think it's only for medical school applications, or maybe
No,
all.
a lot of systems use it.
Amazing. Yeah. So whatever graduate school you are planning on attending, you can have your professors send your letters to Interfolio, and you can use them whenever you'd like for other application systems. So I think it does come in handy, and you can always reach out to your professors if you develop a close bond, and you might need letters, not even for scholarships, for research programs, those CERT program and I forgot Jumpstart, all of those ones, they do require letters of rec, at least two, one from science at least, or humanities. So make sure that you have letters of rec ready once you're applying to those research opportunities as well.
You can go ahead, David. You can go.
You can go ahead.
Ladies first.
So the first question, would you recommend getting letters of recommendation from community college students or community college professors before transferring? I would say, in terms of like asking before you transfer, I've been hearing from like numerous people, it is like beneficial to ask them before you transfer it, especially like if you've developed a really good relationship with the professor. And you like the ultimate goal besides like scholarships is to go into graduate school. So for me, I'm pre-med, and so my like plan is to apply for med school in the next couple years, and then transfer or go into a program. For these kinds of programs, or for these kinds of like grad school programs, you do need letter of recommendations, and then I would say it's better to get it before and like start like in Interfolio, like I was saying, because over the years, like, not to say that you won't be remembered by the professor, but they just have so many students, and so I would try to request for a letter before you transfer. That's a general advice that I've been kind of hearing from like some people. Because in the next few years down the line, it might be hard to like recall like what you did at the community college. Yeah, that's pretty much my answer for that question.
Yeah, adding on, actually, this is my first time listening to Interfolio, so you can keep your letter of recommendation. I did not know that. I wish I wish I kept my letter of recommendation, but I did not. So what I did, similar to what Kristen have mentioned earlier, when it comes to letter of recommendation, what I did was you want to talk to your professor, but just be mindful because they are professors tend to be busy. So sometimes what if they forgot? What if like also not highly encouraged like last minute, oh, this is due 2 weeks. I will do like a month. That's what I did for Jack and Co Foundation. I give them like a reminder and talk to them nicely. And I'm just worried that, oh, are you going to submit a letter of recommendation because I really need this, and including like School of Nursing is specialty school, so it's not just UCLA, and also to multiple schools, some of them require letter of recommendation. So it sounds like I request a lot of letter of recommendation for different school, different organization, different foundation. So I just talk to the professor, be mindful, and also talk to them. Is it okay if I email you? Not messaging them, not calling them. So I just like remind as a reminder, is that okay with you? Talk to them. Your professor most likely will say yes and no, and they will guide you as well. I think professor, if they really a good professor, in my opinion, they really care about you. They will do their best and they don't mind. Just have an open communication with them. Be transparent. I want to submit this. This is the due deadline. How this gonna work? How would you like me to what to do? Like is reminding you every once a week as a good sign or what? So that's what I did. So one of my professor, okay, David, I want you to email me every day. I did follow his instruction, emailing him every day. Hey, this is day 31, day 30, day 28, day 29. And yeah, I just kept reminding them. Yeah, so that's my suggestion for
Yeah,
letter of
the only thing that I would add is when you ask for a letter of recommendation, a lot of these systems are now like web-based, and so you'll get a notification when it's sent. But letter recommendation also with like Interfolio, you could use it for jobs and other things you want to apply for. But one thing, if you don't learn anything from this entire session, but one thing you will learn from this is both from Anya and David is that shoot your shot, like apply to scholarship programs. The worst thing could happen is you get no, but then you could get another one, but it's a practice, it's a conditioning that you do. And you're like every single community college has scholarships. And I talked to the school that I go to, and she's like, yeah, we got like we could give away like $100,000 every year, and we literally like don't get enough applications. And so like we literally have to like go hunt for them, for students, because if we don't give out that money that year, we lose it. So we have to like give that money out, and they can't keep it. So it's like a legal thing. They can't keep that money. So and so like David said, the Jack Cook Kent is like the holy grail of scholarships, but you should probably apply to the little ones first at your school, like $500, $1,000, so you become good at it and you get the practice before you go to the big kahuna of scholarships. And yeah, and so I think like if you don't take anything away from this, is like shoot your shot. And this is actually a follow-up question, which I thought was kind of interesting, is how do you foster advice do you give to foster mentor relationship with professors, advisors, and basically any tips on speaking with faculty? And I'll let Kristen go first, and Anya, and then David.
So in terms of fostering relationships, I think first, besides being in the class and like trying to do well in the class, if you're able to take the professor like multiple quarters in a row, I think that helps like develop like the relationship with a professor over like a longer period of time. And besides that, I'd say try to go to office hours. Not even if it's like not for content related questions, like even if you don't have any questions about the homework, just to like ask them about their educational background, just to get to learn more about them. I think is really important because you're trying to build like a foundation between yourself and the professor. And so the main way the way I think about it is like you can't really build that relationship unless you kind of know more about them. So I'd say go to office hours, and if you have the opportunity, try to take classes with them over multiple quarters.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Kristen said, and try to, number one, develop relationships with professors that you have common interests, whether it's in research, whether it's the class that you're teaching, you're very passionate about, for instance, nutrition, if they're teaching a nutrition class. Make sure to participate in that class if you are seeking to develop that relationship, show interest, post discussion boards if you guys have like discussions on Canvas. Make sure to email the professor if you see something, for instance, in the news, and it reminds you of the content in class, and share it with the class so others can also learn. So that's my first advice. Number two is, if you are part of the scholars program, the honors program at your CC, that's also a good way to develop a relationship with the director. So the director usually has experience with lots of students working in community service, leadership, and even my CC director, he taught a few classes at our CC. So students took his classes, were part of the honors program. So some of my friends were able to get letters of recommendation from our honors director. So that can be a major plus. But I will end this with saying, I used to be a very shy and nervous individual, and I would not be able to like approach professors without like my voice shaking. It took a lot for me to speak even in front of, right now I can only see like 4 people. I would just shake, I would shiver. You could see it in my voice. My face would get very red. And all I have to say about that is practice. Practice talking with professors. Put yourself out there. Even if you don't want to raise your hand in class, what I would do is I would count to 3, 3, 2, 1, raise your hand, Anya, like make sure to speak if you have something in your mind, something to contribute, because this is a good time, first, second year, it's a good time to practice. No one is gonna remember you. They're not gonna be like, oh my God, did you see her? She rose her hand in class and she asked a question. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Practice. And as you practice, your speaking skills are gonna get better. And that is my biggest advice. Anything that you can take from this, make sure to practice, because you'll be dealing with much more intimidating people such as PIs, principal investigators at like research institutions, whether it's UCLA, UCI, and it's a good skill to build.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your story, Anya. It's funny when you mention like different personality, different way of like upbringing. So in my case, I'm extrovert. I'm not shy, I guess. So what I did, I noticed that every time in community college, a lot of students tend to sit in the back. So I sit in the front. So by sitting in the front, obviously professor most likely see people in the front first. So I sit in the front. I do not know if that's a good advice or not, but then I feel like I've been always sitting in the front, and I get used to it. Like no one want to sit in the front, so like why? For me, it's easy access coming in, easy access to getting out. I'm thinking like positively, like I don't mind sitting in the front. So I've been sitting in the front, and I do have a lot of eye contact with the professor, which making me like, and I don't really see what behind me. So it make me like, oh, if I'm not sure, I'm just gonna ask question. Yeah. So my advice is try to sit in the front, I guess. But I want to bring it up the importance of I remember there was a situation where like I have a conversation with my classmate. Oh, I mean, I'm taking classes with this specific professor. It's the director of the science building, something like that. Yes, that's amazing. I'm taking 2 classes with him. But then I didn't ask letter recommendation from him, even though I take classes with him. My opinion is the way I choose, like fostering relationship with my the people that I want to get letter recommendation is, I think you guys mentioned, why do you choose this person? What is the connection between me and him or her? What is so special? Then I was like, oh, this professor talking about infectious diseases. This like gather my attention. I do want to connect with her because I do have passionate. So don't ever go to letter recommendation just by their title if you don't get along. Go find letter of recommendation by your interest and by the interest of the professor talking, like what they cover. And I think you guys also mentioned about transfer honor program, and a lot of these professor, they are not just professor in community college, they are doing some other stuff. So the professor that teaching me biology at the same time is the leader or the supervisor for the environmental club. With that being said, I'm in their class. At the same time, I spend more time in the environmental club with them. So you guys get this, like the professor most likely know you guys more better because the student have been taking my class 2-3 times, and at the same time you also part of the environmental club. I've seen you all every once a week, so I know your personality. You want in order to have a good relationship, you want the professor to know who you really are. You want them to know how individual of you have changed from the first time I met you, David. You were like not confident, yada yada yada. Your grade like B or something. Look at you right now, and they can see a potential in you, and they would love they are more than welcome. Like, I would love to write a letter recommendation of you because I know who you are. That's the thing that you want to hear. That's the thing that you're looking for letter of recommendation for professor. Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think all of these are great. There's also programs like Mesa, EOPS, Science Learning, STEM centers. There's all of these different programs. The one thing that I would say about professors is the nice thing about community college is you have but like my organic chemistry, we have 20 people in the class. I spend 10 hours a week in that class, 100, and usually your classes at community college, the same teacher teaches the first part and the second part. So you're spending about 320 hours during that year with that professor. Um, it's like 10 hours a week. I spend more time with my organic chemistry professor than I do with my girlfriend. Um, so if you're not like making a connection with that much time that you are seeing you're spending now, I'm not saying like you should go out with your professor or anything, but just spending time. Like I know like my organic chemistry professor, like at the end of lab, one day I was like cleaning up and so we just started talking and he's like, oh, by the way, you're pre-med. Oh, my wife is an ER doc. Do you want to like meet her and stuff? And I was like, well, I work in the ER. Come to find out that like I worked with his wife. And so that was like one connection that I had no idea that happened. I had another professor who was like, oh, I went to when I was doing my PhD, my roommate was a medical student and like he was failing biochemistry and I helped him. But he's like faculty at a medical school and come to find out like he's like a dean of a medical school. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so he put me in touch with him. And um, but I think it's kind of being serendipity. And I think you do have to do it. The nice thing about community college, your classes are small, but second, they like being around students and they like being with students. I mean, you're gonna get that one cranky person that may not be approachable, and that's fine. But the biggest thing is like people like to talk about themselves. So like worst case scenario is like, oh, so you got a PhD in chemistry. What did you do your research in? Or what, just asking them simple question and people like to talk about themselves. And so, or another one that I always ask, like if I'm taking a hard class, like, hey, what kind of tips do you give to be successful in your class? I mean, just starting conversation, and I know it's hard. Like, I mean, Anya says she's shy, but I don't believe her. But if somebody is shy, but the other part of it too, David, I mean, he came from a whole different culture where you don't even like look at your professors, let alone, and so he came from an entirely different culture, and he's able to do that, and then plus on top of it, learn the language too, which for us that English is not our first language, this things we overcome. Yeah, and so the other question is, how did you, this is a great question. and we've done a lot of workshops on that, but I'll let you guys answer that. How did you manage your time with prereqs, research program, extracurricular activities, family, friends, all the other things that you do? How did you manage that while you were at community college or even now at UCLA?
I can go first. I think it's definitely, at least transitioning to UCLA. It's I'm still adjusting, and I still think like I'm like even in community college, I was trying to find like a good balance. But I think like it's really important to, of course, you want to prioritize your classes and your grades and make sure that you're studying well. But also like give some time for yourself. Because the quarter system, most UCs at least are in like quarter system, and the weeks go by so quickly. You're studying like pretty frequently. You're like in the library grinding it out. But I'd say like I guess the best tip or the way that I've been kind of doing it is kind of like organizing my how I want my day to look like the night before. I'm someone who like really like plans out things. I know like when I'm actually carrying out the things the day of, like it doesn't really go exactly to plan. Like I'm like, okay, I want to go complete this and this assignment in this time period, but then sometimes I don't get to that. I think it's okay. Just to kind of like space things out. I think like what I've learned in terms of study tips is like having spatial like kind of studying where you're working on an assignment over a period of time helps with like recalling the information. But yeah, making sure that you're organized with your planners or like writing out things. And then if you can in the week, try to like have maybe half a day or something where you can like just do whatever you want. And still trying to figure that out. Like doing laundry and stuff like that. But I think like if you stay organized and just try to find that time where you're just like, I don't know, like going rock climbing or something, like trying something new. I think that would help like keep your motivation up.
Yeah, I could jump in. So I like to use this technique called time blocking. I do like to be involved in a lot of extracurriculars and have class research. So whether it's Google Calendar or paper and pencil, you can just block time out 10 to 11. I have this, 1 to 3, I have this. I like to do that. And I like to also put in the times that I'm going to study, whether it's for the MCAT or a test. I like to actually schedule it in my calendar and make sure that I commit to it to the best of my abilities, but not also be super strict about it. Also, I was very, very busy in high school and in middle school because, like David, I am a refugee. I immigrated from Iran. So I had to learn a new language, different things. So it was a like transition for me from a young age. And now that I was in like community college and transferring from UCLA, I had to keep up those work habits because it's not easy, just working. I also had a job while I was a community college student, and I kept that job as I'm like transferring to UCLA and about to graduate. So make sure that you plan everything out. If you are doing a lot of extracurriculars, because I am like sometimes overzealous about like I'm passionate about different organizations. I like to participate in everything. So make sure that you're not putting too much, on your plate, and make sure that you do know what you're like the commitments that you're going to be taking, so it's not too crazy. But yeah, that's my advice.
Thank you.
David?
So yes. So for my situation, balancing, huh? I think that my advice may be not the best. I think I'm still struggling in balancing. I do not know how to balance. Yes, I do a lot of work, part of work. I was also working in community college, then volunteer. Like, how am I able to manage this? But then I think what I did, I was able to have my perspective differently. Maybe because due to my culture and I'm not from here, I'm an immigrant moving here, and I was able to be grateful and embracing that what I have learned. So yes, I did. The school is hard. It's not easy, but then I'm able to think that doing volunteer in the hospital. I was volunteering in the hospital in Sana back then for certain hour. Able to volunteer in the hospital, able to do extracurricular environmental club with the professor. To me, it's a break. So I'm thinking that as a break for me, like, oh, finally, not studying. This is for me an active learning, connecting with the people surrounding me. At the same time, I'm learning. Those are my break, and including eating and sleeping. So I'm still struggling balancing, and even in UCLA right now, yeah, I still struggling balancing with my activity. It's a lot of work, but then I did my best, and I'm grateful that I'm learning. I feel like I have to discipline myself. So if an individual of us have to be disciplined, you are committed. It's good. Sometimes I have my self time, like a me time. I'm just gonna be alone. If it have reached my burnout, I'm just sitting down, reflecting what I had done in the past and what make me today as a person, and to have those remind us where we coming from, why we doing this in the first place. Then I go back again and do my work, and that motivate me. Yeah, I hope that helped. Yeah.
Yeah, and all of us have this little invention that we spend a lot of money on called our cell phones, and it's got this little thing on there called a calendar. Like I live by this thing because not only that, but it has reminders on it. Because I always say if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. And I also coordinate a bunch of other things. And so, like your calendar, it should be like your Bible in a sense, and having reminders and stuff because that's how you're going to manage it. The other question is somebody I think asked, this is what were some like how was the jump from community college to UCLA in terms of like environment, time management, difficulties with classes, uh, and anything else that you didn't expect after transferring?
I will say that it heavily depends on your major. So, depending on what major you transfer in, you might have a much easier experience than you did in community college, which was a case for me. So, in community college, I like took all the pre-med classes, so OChem, Gen Chem, bios. So it was just like those weeder classes. But once I transferred, it was much easier for me. I love all of the classes that I'm currently taking in my major. It combines humanities and STEM based classes, so it's interdisciplinary, and I enjoy my classes. So make sure to pick a major that you will enjoy, and be able to connect with your professors and your classmates. So it does depend. However, you will be bombarded with a ton of extracurriculars after you transfer. So make sure to be picky with what you invest your time in, because it's better to do 3 or 4 things rather than 20 things and commit to them for long term, and make sure that you won't feel tired after you participate in that extracurricular. You don't want your extracurriculars to drain you. You want it to be something that you enjoy. I think in high school, I did that a lot. I was in orchestra and water polo swim. I did so many extracurriculars that frankly, I wasn't very passionate about. So make sure that you are investing your time into something that is meaningful to you.
Yeah, I can continue off of that. I'd say I'm pretty fresh, like right after like transferring. We just finished our first like cycle of midterms for me. And I'd say like I think the time management part, you're gonna be, I think it's definitely a lot more independent because you kind of figure out what you're kind of dictating like your own day-to-day schedule. Like if you're like living at home with your parents, like community college, like They'll be providing food for you. You can do laundry at home. It's a lot easier to do that kind of stuff. I think I like going to any college. You have to make time to do laundry. You have to make time to walk to where you want to eat for dining halls, let's say. I'm in dorms right now, like the transfer dorms at UCLA. So sometimes it can take like an hour, like waiting in line or whatever to get food. And so you need to kind of need to like take that time out of your day to like think about like, okay, I need this time to like eat. I need this time to sleep. I need this time to like walk to my classes. And so I think there's like some things that I kind of took for granted, like back in home, I'm kind of like missing it now just because like there's like things like that. But like on the flip side, like it's so much more flexible and like I feel like a lot more independent because I'm living kind of like my own life at like college without my parents. I'd say I'd kind of echo what Anya would say what Anya said about kind of being really picky. There is so for at UCLA there's our club day is like called Enormous Activities Fair or EAF, and there's like I can't stress there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of like clubs. There's like bajillion clubs that you can like join. For pre-med clubs there's like 30 or something. There's like a lot. And so it's really easy to get caught up in that. But I'd say kind of like be mindful of like your time and kind of be like a little picky. Like if you go to the first meeting and you're kind of not really vibing with it, but you go to a different one, it's like you really like the people, you're like the mission statement that they have. Then go for that club instead of like other clubs that you think like would boost your resume better or something like that. Just kind of be picky, be really like choose ones that you really are interested in, and that you can see yourself like continuing on for like your time here at UCLA or at any university.
Yeah, in my case, I feel like the transfer from community college to UC system. Back in my community college transfer, West Los Angeles College is a semester, so it's a 16 weeks. So once I transfer to UC, it's a 10 weeks. So everything goes so fast. I still remember last year, first fall quarter, I have to adapt to it. So I feel like right now I get used to it. I'm not going to I don't have any preference between semester or quarter, like which one is better. Some people say, oh, semester is better, quarter is better. To me, it's the same. But especially for students coming from community college using semester, then moving to a quarter, it will make you surprised, like how fast it is. Because like some people, if some depending on the subject, they have 2 midterm, one final exam. So those by that mean you have like week 3, then week 6, then week 10, or if you only have 1 midterm exam, week 5, then week 10. So time, and we talk about time management. I don't live in UCLA campus, so I'm commuting. So I community college student, most of us commuter, right? We commute to the community college. So I'm able to commute, but I commute like 2 miles. So but I have other friends who commute longer. Some people live like 40 miles, like in the up north or east, like 30 miles. It took them an hour. Again, I feel like once you already in the university, I feel like our consciousness telling us like which way is the best. Some student commuter, they arrive by 6 in the morning. They believe that they study in the morning it's better and they adapt to it. So eventually our body will adapt and find the best way to survive in the environment, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's really important. Like some people like to study in the morning, some people like to study at night. But I can tell you one thing, and this is actually I heard from a couple of people. Doesn't matter if you're community college or UCLA or anywhere, if your social life is so busy that you start studying at 10 or 11, you are doing something wrong. Just point that out there. Like you know, that's all I'm saying. And so this is like a really important thing that you guys should know. This is a question, I think, for Anya and Kirsten, was that how did you guys plan out your extracurricular activities for 4 years? And I think, Anya, you mentioned that you've been like doing stuff for 4 years. Um, and so I think that's mainly pertaining to you, but also Kirsten.
Yeah, I can go ahead and answer that question. So there were some things that I knew I was passionate about. So immigration, refugees, that's one of my passions. So I developed like this small organization, and I was able to work on that with a few like individuals and develop that my time in community college, and then after I transferred. Same with the club that I created at CC. I do think it's important to be smart and strategically plan out these activities that you'll be participating in. So my club that I created, I made sure to, this might sound crazy, but I made sure to look at the UCLA clubs that were already present. And I made sure to make it innovative and not like another repetitive club. Because like Kristen said, there are numerous UCLA pre-med clubs. So that's something to look for. Also, my job that I have sustained since high school up until now. I made sure that I had the time, because I'm also a commuter student like David, but it does take me like 40 minutes to commute. So make sure that you are managing your time correctly, because it can be draining and you can burn out if you're doing way too many things. So there have been some extracurriculars that don't fit the theme, that didn't fit the theme of the story that I was trying to convey to medical school. So I didn't see myself continuing in those extracurriculars for a sustained period of time. So I did it for a few years, and then I stopped it. So make sure that this is an important point, because I was just talking to one of my PIs about this the other day. Make sure the story that you're trying to convey, this is for medical schools, but I think it'll apply for law schools or whatever graduate schools you're trying to go into. Make sure the story that you're trying to convey to whoever, the admission officers, whoever, it's clear and they can not put you in a box, but they know the passions that you're interested in. So you're not all over the place with different extracurriculars that don't have a similar, line to connect. So that's my advice, but also don't, in that same sentiment, don't try to put yourself in a box. Make sure to really, really follow your passions, because you're going to be doing your extracurriculars anyways. Why not start a nonprofit? Why not start a new organization? So really do something innovative, fun, creative, but also don't be afraid to join clubs that already exist and take leadership roles in that. So I'm not sure if I answered the question, but that's my advice.
This is a fast question. So who lives on campus? Who lives off campus? Who lives far away? Like, can you guys just talk about your housing? Kristen said that she lives on campus.
Yeah, so I actually lived not on campus, but I had like an apartment with my roommates last year at UCLA. So it was like a 10-minute walk. The apartment situation didn't work for me since the rent was so high. Even with the scholarships and everything, I wanted to save money for medical school since it can get expensive. So I decided to commute my second year since I got the hang of things at UCLA, and it was easier for me. But it's not easy to commute also. So I wake up super early, like 5:50, and I get out the door at like 6:15. So it does take some time to get to campus, and then I stay at my lab until like 8 p.m. So I get home very late just to not be in that traffic, because I hate traffic. So make sure, because here's the thing, if you do decide to live on campus or get roommates for an off-campus apartment, there are other challenges that you'll be facing. For instance, for my apartment, we had to get cleaners. There was noise situations or people breaking in. And this is a reputable apartment. Technically on their website, they said like it was supposed to be a good apartment that wasn't like it didn't have issues, but we had so many issues with rent, everything. So it comes with other problems. It's like a double-edged sword. So make sure you know what you're getting yourself into and get other people's experiences, but always follow with your gut and your intuition, because that has tended to be right for me most of the time.
Yeah, I know that in the previous session they said that UCLA is one of the only UCs that guarantees 2 years of on-campus housing, and that's an option for a lot of people that they want to use. David and Kristen, your housing.
Yeah, I can go answer this question. So this is my second year transfer. So last year I transfer and I did stay in UCLA off-campus apartment. So still run by UCLA, and this is new building. And is one unit consists of 8 roommates. So if you guys have heard about that, yeah. So 8 people living in one unit. So 4 bedroom, 2 shower room. So you have a direct roommate. So one room, 1 bedroom, 2 person live in 1 bedroom. But then you sharing living room, sharing kitchen. In my experience, it was not that bad. It's good. And because I was part of Jack and Co Foundation, everything being covered, including my housing, I could have just gone to on campus on the hill. I could have done that as well. But I chose off campus. Yeah, I chose off campus, 7 other roommate. I chose that because it was competitive as well as a transfer student to get into on the hill. I didn't get the on the hill one. But my experience living with 7 other roommates, it was definitely challenging. It's not easy. 7 other roommate, everyone with different personality, different background, different perspective. So I think Anya also mentioned just understand what you sign in for, and because you sign in for this one, we cannot always expect something aligned to what we want. I want this, I want that. We have to learn compromising. So that's what I learned, to compromise from other roommate, and I also talk to them to have open communication and to have everything smoothly, which it was great. I mean, I'm grateful for the 7 other roommate, and we still keep in touch. But today, I don't live there anymore. I think I had a good experience for the first year in transfer with 7 other roommate, and now knowing my situation, Jack and Co Foundation is covering my housing, and I decided, okay, I will just stay in off campus, and like I'm gonna take the bus like 20 minutes. I don't mind, and I also it's sweet with my situation and condition with what I have right now. Yeah.
So this is a question. What's the best advice can you give for people that are working on their UC application and on their PIQ?
I can go first. I think definitely a lot of people will say start early. And I do kind of want to like emphasize that. It's really stressful when you're like in a time crunch, and then you also have like midterms or like classes to study for. So like my major piece of advice would be like to start early, and to really think about like what you want to like put in your application.
I can answer next. I love this question because I'm part of the Triple CP peer advisor, so I've been helping for 1.5 years. So I hope everyone already know this, but so in the UC application, UC website, they already put the prompt. So like Kristen mentioned, start early. That's a good suggestion. Also, once you create it in your Google Drive, have someone read your PIQ, and because the purpose to have somebody else read is come from different perspective. But when you choose somebody else to read your personal insight question, make sure this person is the person who know truly who you are. In that way, they can help by giving input. So not just like random people like, hey, can you read mine? So maybe like, I don't know, people you trust, people you are comfortable with, because this is personal insight question. It could be personal, right? So this is a statement where people really know who you are, what you have been struggling, what your obstacle, how you manage it, how you overcome it. And the UCLA want to know you holistically, like why you want to choose this specific major, what make you decide to want to do this major, how this major gonna help you in the future in the next 5 years. So they want to know this. So my advice is have somebody else, that people that you trust and you comfortable, who know you, who you really through are, to have it read and welcome feedback. So listening to them and think again whether this is good or not. And also, I think last advice is definitely sign up for triple CP and ask for peer advisor to help you, or any peer advisor, not just triple CP. Counselor, I believe community college also have their own counselor for peer advisor. Yeah, so definitely seek out for help. Ask for suggestion from peer advisor. Yeah.
I will take a different take. I love David's advice. Fully listen to him, apply to triple CP. I'll share my story. So my personal insight questions were personal. So I did not feel comfortable sharing my story with others, like professors who would write my letters or back. So I thought it would be like a sticky situation. So it was just me, myself, and I, and Grammarly. And I worked on my PIQs very early, and I was able to edit them to my liking. And no one knows you better than you know your story. So make sure that these individuals who will be reading your essays, they've read so many. Make sure to stand out. Make sure that you portray your story in a unique way, even if it's not unique, because I can say that there have been so many stories that have been, identical to even mine. Like, just like we're 4 people, David and I share the same story. We're both immigrants, and I talked about being an immigrant in one of my essays. So the stories are going to be the same, but the way that you make it sound, and utilizing quotations, utilizing storytelling, ethos, pathos, logos, make sure to get the emotion from the audience. Really research how to write, because once you transfer, writing is going to be a very important skill that you need to develop. So make sure you have your stones ready and everything is set to go, because not everyone has the opportunity to get others to read their essays. So if it's just you, don't worry. You can get through it if you don't want to share your PIQs, but really do take the time to invest in how to write properly.
Can I add really quick? I remember because I just recently helped other students regarding the PIQ. So please do not try to praise university. Don't mention that like, oh, UCLA is the best. It's already in the banner, in the sign. UCLA is #1 public university. They do not need to be reminded by that. So avoid by telling them, oh, UCLA is the best school, instead of telling that, because the purpose of the PIQ, again, the reader want to know you. They do not want you to tell how good or how bad UCLA is. So avoid selling UCLA. Yeah, definitely avoid that.
The other thing is the UC application goes to every school. So if Berkeley sees it, they'll check you. So you're applying to all the UCs get the same application. This is the question. You guys touched on it a little bit, but can you guys talk about your the scholarships that you applied for and you got, and the ones that you didn't get, and which ones would you recommend people apply to?
This is my favorite question. I love scholarships and I loved applying to scholarships, so I can take it first. Number one.
Can you apply to some for me? No, just kidding.
So make sure to apply to scholarships that your CC offers. So Glendale Community College offered small scholarships, $500, $1,000 here and there. So I applied to all of that and I received that amount. That was great. Also, when you submit your UC application, specifically to UCLA, the PIQs, they're going to be read by the UCLA if they like it. They're going to put your application in a pile. They're called UCLA Alumni Scholarship. ASC is our like club name now. But if you receive that scholarship, they will pay a good chunk of your tuition. So for me, like it covered everything, and you'll be able to also be inducted into the UCLA Alumni Scholars Club. So only students who receive that scholarship are able to get in the club, and you'll be able to, you know, continue that leadership role. Also, the Ebell Scholarship, EBELL. Make sure to Google it. I think I get $5,000 a year from them. It's a great help. So I like to say that even though I didn't get the Jack Can Cook scholarship, I created my own fake Jack Can Cook scholarship. So they've all been very helpful. But I will also say this. Certain research programs give huge stipends. So if you participate just in a summer, they can give out like a $5,000 stipend. So
no, it's actually 7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, so make sure to apply to those research programs if you're interested in research, of course. The CERC program is $5,000 for that summer. So I also recommend that program, but I think that's it for scholarships on my end.
Yeah, talking about in a couple of weeks, we'll have the NIH director for research training program. She's going to give a talk, and that's the one that like you go to DC, and it's a pretty nice they give you a pretty nice stipend. But yeah, some of them give really, and I think Kirsten, you did a summer program. What was those stipends?
So the one that I did was Gladstone Institute's PUMAS program, that research position. It was a paid position. They pay like minimum wage to do research over there. And then they also provided, I believe it was like a $1,000 transportation stipend. So it wasn't like a massive amount, but it definitely does help. Usually like even at UCLA, like I've heard that there's like not really a lot of research positions, or like if you go directly with a lab, like sometimes that like it'll be like for volunteering position, or like you're not like being paid. But PUMAS it did pay me through like community college, or like throughout the summer. They pay you like minimum wage, and then they help cover like your transportation.
And David, besides getting Jack Cook Kent, what other scholar? Because if you get Jack Cook Kent scholarship, you probably got a bunch of other ones. So what are the other ones that you got, and the other ones that you got turned away?
Right. So yeah, thank you. Yeah. So that's a good point. So what happened was back in community college, so similar situation to Anya, I applied a bunch of scholarship. So community college at West LA College where I was, we are using like student canvas or student portal. You were able to access the scholarship, which is very doable. I wish everyone do the same thing. Like we can just like we can do it online, and I just like did everything. So when I saw like, oh, what else I can do, like I need this money for community college, so I didn't pay any penny for my community college. Then I apply all the scholarship offer from the community college. Then I apply financial aid for the blue and gold opportunity that's given in UCLA and Pell Grant and Cal Grant. But then once I got admitted for the Jack and Cook Foundation, and I was like, oh, it's pretty much cover everything. I didn't apply after once I got Jack and Cook. I was also eligible to I was part of the undergrad research fellowship, something like that, a program. I was able to get the scholarship as well. But then I choose not to, because why would I get scholarship if I do not need it? Because technically at this point I got all covered and I had enough. So this fund can help for other students who need it more. So I stopped looking for scholarship after I got my Jack and Cook Foundation. So in that way, other students can have the opportunity for the scholarship. because the funding is limited as well. They have a certain amount to distribute the funding. Yeah.
So this is another question. This is the second to last question. Is actually two questions, but what are some of the challenges you face transferring from you to UC from community college in terms of research programs? Were there wait lists for specific programs? Like, what about the time conflict and schedule? Um, and are some of, I mean, and I think that's kind of like are some research opportunities better than others from medical school, which that's kind of like a subjective question. But so do you guys want to talk a little bit about that?
I can answer that question. So my my experience when it comes to research, and I did my first research in UCLA. And also I'm thankful with my previous former triple CP peer advisor. It was them who suggested me, like they give me the idea, not really like encouragement, like the idea, hey David, are you interested in doing research? Here are the lists. And they were the one who told me that you would want to apply early. Do not apply during your fall classes started. You want to apply like on summer, or when you get the admission, then you start doing your research, which faculty you want. So apparently it was true, because I was seeing all my other friends who were struggling to find a research when they apply during fall. When you apply during summer, not as competitive as compared to regular quarter. So I was lucky enough. I submitted on summer, and I was able to contact with the professor, and the professor want to interview me, and I submit my cover letter, my resume, and my first trial and my first approach to the professor just by email, and did my own research based on you can research the professor based on the LinkedIn as well, and also how many paper they have been are writing, like their literature review. So have a quick look what they study. We don't have to read the whole paper, just like read the abstract, go the main point, why this interests you. Then you talk to them and do the interview. So that's what happened to during my research experience in UCLA. So I highly suggested for every community college student who got admitted to UCLA or any university, if you're interested in research, I highly encourage, once you admit it, if you want to do research, find your faculty, find your specific major faculty, and every faculty staff have their own background. Type their name in their LinkedIn and look at what their involvement, how many papers they have done, and look whether the position is principal investigator or not. You want to email them, and if they always have their email, their professional email, and you can reach out to them. And it's okay if they do not respond to you. Again, they are busy people. They have conference, they have paper to work, they have grade to work. So it's normal if you get ignored. You can follow up with them, but also don't expect they're gonna respond on you. Some of them may just ignore you forever, but that's okay. Go moving forward, find another professor, PI, principal investigator, or another professor. Yeah.
Yeah, I will jump from David's points because he made some very, very smart, comments. So LinkedIn, make sure to stalk your PIs that you're interested in. Really look into the research that they're doing. They get so many emails from undergraduate students, and I would even say, if you are very interested in a specific sector of research, whether it's cardiometabolic diseases or, specific research, email the PI, and don't write a super lengthy email. Make sure that it's, short, brief, and cute, that they don't have to spend too much time on it, but do express your interest in participating even while you're at a CC. So if it's UCLA, like if I could go back and do this entire thing over again, I would email like UCLA professors. I wouldn't be shy, and I would email them, and I would express my interest in being involved in the research. I would say that 99% of those PIs wouldn't respond to me, but that 1%, there's always someone who will respond and will be interested to take you into the ring. In that same sentiment, I will say, I got very lucky because I participated and I got accepted into the CERC program right after I got accepted to UCLA, right before starting my first quarter. So I had this connection with this PI all like developed through that program in the summer. Once that program ended, I asked him, hey, is it possible for me to join your lab? And I expressed my interest, and luckily he said yes, and I've been at this lab for this is my second year. So make sure to really reach out to the PIs, and whatever sector it is, I would say in the beginning, try to get some research experience, even if it's something that you're not interested in. So that's what I did. It was a lot of like humanities-based research, and I had to write a lot. But I do think experience matters, because when you're emailing these PIs, I think it would be helpful if you could attach a resume with all of the abstracts that you've worked on, or any like papers that you've, been part of, not published because that's very hard, but try to get your foot in the door somehow. That's my advice.
Kristen?
I'll add. Yeah, so I'll address like the last question, because I think Anya and David kind of covered the beginning questions really well. Were some research opportunities better than others for med school preference purposes? So there's a lot of different research opportunities that you can be a part of. You can be a part of like wet lab, like more basic research where you're like pipetting or like working in a tissue culture hood. There's experiences where you can do clinical research, where you're kind of you can either be working like more in like hospital setting, or like kind of collecting data on like diseases that patients have. I'd say that there isn't like really a preference for like, let's say, clinical research.
We can't hear you, Kristen.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, I'll talk to the mic. My like AirPods died. So I wouldn't say there's a preference for like having clinical research versus like benchtop research where you're working like pipetting. I think it really depends on like your interests, and if you can speak about those kinds of things that you've done to like in your interview or in your like your application. I think those like speak more than like the specific position, like the specific like area that you're working in, like clinical research versus like basic research.
And the only thing that I would add is like getting into research is like getting into a gang. So once you're in, people know each other, and you could connect with other research projects and programs and stuff. And I mean, that means if they like you, and they could recommend you to someone else, because I could tell you that if you don't like somebody, you're not going to recommend them to your friends. So this is the last question for every single one of you: is why did you choose UCLA? How did you know it was your right choice? And what are your future educational career aspirations, or like what do you want to be when you grow up?
I can start with this question. So I've always wanted to go into the healthcare field, and when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. So that is my, dream career. So I knew that from the beginning when I started community college, and I took all of that into account when I was choosing my extracurriculars and everything that I was doing. So I applied to UCLA actually when I was in high school. I got waitlisted to UCLA, and it was my goal to go to CC, even though I got accepted I was about to go to UCI, but I changed really, really quickly and hastily, and I decided to go to CC, and it was the best decision that I've ever made. And I was able to work on my application and really examine the extracurriculars and everything that I'm doing, and not only doing things to put on paper, to actually invest time on things that I actually like and I'm passionate about. So UCLA was always convenient for me because of various reasons. So number one, location, proximity. I love my family and my friends, and I need to be around them. And I get, very sad if I cannot be close to them within, a few mile radius. So I knew that that's an important factor in my decision. So UCLA is close to where I am. So that was always an easy choice. And then from there, research is something that I love. So UCLA is a great research institution, but that doesn't negate that other institutions like UCI, US, wherever, they also have various research programs. They have great PAs. So don't ignore all the other institutions like UCI, UC Davis. So that was where my heart was set at. So I knew that I wanted to go to that, path. And also, from my high school, a lot of individuals were accepted to UCLA, and I had a lot of friends that went to UCLA. So you talk to people, you want to get their perspective. And I had all these experiences from other individuals who had, great experiences. They went into law school, medical school, nursing school, and they had a good time. So that was what I wanted, and I'll leave it at that.
I can answer next. For me, I think definitely throughout community college, I was still kind of like on the fence, like going to medicine. Even now, like I'm not like 100% sure that I want to be a doctor. I'm still kind of like in the exploratory stage, and I think that's still okay. For people to still be exploring like into like college, and afterwards. I was like, I still like in community college, I kind of geared my extracurriculars to like medical related things. And it did help. I felt like from starting community college to transferring to UCLA, I think I do have like a more of a passion to enter a medical profession. But in terms of choosing like the college, in terms of choosing UCLA, I only applied to like UCs in my area, or like that I was like interested in. I applied to UCLA, UC Berkeley, and UC Davis, and so I was choosing those between those three to transfer to. And I kind of created like a pro con sheet for each college, and it took a lot of like talking to like my professors, my parents, a lot of different people to kind of think about like what I should consider. For me, like all the UCs that I was accepted into, like all of them had like amazing like biology programs. They had research, they had great opportunities, outstanding faculty and professors. And I think like what really made me kind of lean towards UCLA the most was like once I think the transfer community is really established at UCLA. I felt really like at home and like welcomed. Not to say like I didn't feel the same from like other UCs, but I think like having like the transfer programs that like the honors program that I had with the Hill, that kind of helped like kind of lead me towards like UCLA. And then the people that I knew that were going to like campus, they seemed really happy. I also thought about location. Going closer to home I'm really like close to my family, but I think like I also considered like, oh, well, will I be happy here at this UC versus others? Like, even if I live closer to home, will I be happy because I'm closer to family, or like, is that the like only reason I'll be happy is it because of that, or like other things? Like, I think like I took it more as like going farther away from home as a time to like be more independent and to kind of learn more about myself. And so I took it more as like a positive to like live farther away from home. I do miss my family, like my siblings a lot, but I think like that's like it's like a growth period that I wanted to experience. And also like some other things like safety, like security at night, or like being safe, like when I'm walking around from like at nighttime, and like a really minor thing I think was like food. UCLA is like ranked like #1 for food out of like public universities, and so I think that was like a little added plus, but I wasn't really considering it as like a main factor when I decided UCLA.
Yeah, for my case, I've been really wanting to get into nursing program. So as being a nursing program, there are not so many university offer as a transfer student. I believe only two UC, UCI and UCLA, and other mostly
And
casted.
Davis.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Davis.
that's new. Okay, so but my year, okay, I didn't know about David, but okay, it's good to know. So for my nursing program, I have limited option. With my limited option, so I apply many, like I think 10 public university. Then also I apply only one private university. That's because my counselor in the school encouraged me how competitive nursing is. So she said, I think would you rather wait another year or you don't mind going to private school? Yeah. So I did apply, and turned out I only got two option. So even the public school, mostly they didn't. I didn't get admitted. I only get admitted to UCLA, and another private school is Mount Saint Mary. So at first I heard Mount Saint Mary first. Then I was so happy because I get into nursing program at least among all university that I apply. I didn't hear UCLA until later. Then after that I heard UCLA. Then I choose UCLA. That's my only reason why I choose UCLA, because first it's cheaper than private university, and at that time I have not heard of Jack and Co Foundation yet. So after UCLA, then I heard Jack and Co Foundation. I was like, oh, even better. So I don't have to pay any penny. So yeah, it helped me a lot. I don't have to deal with student loan, and yeah, it helped me a lot with my financial situation. So that's why I choose UCLA, because of my background, specific major, and the competitiveness of the nursing program. Yeah.
Well, excellent, everyone. I actually have to start work, so I'm actually at work. So I need to get going. Thank you, Anya, Kristen, and David. And Daniela had something emergency come up, so she had to leave. Thanks everyone for coming, and hopefully we'll see you at our next event. Have a great Friday night, and don't get in trouble.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.